pressure here, enormous pressure here on David Reynolds now in the back end of this race as Van Gisbergen gets much, much closer to the rear wing. Thank you for the update, Mark Larkham. Traction out of here has been strong for Shane. He gets it up the inside. There's nothing between these cars as he grabs third gear. And he starts to sneak it up with a bit of side draft and great traction side by side and nudges ahead into second position. Reynolds comes back as they make their way down into the braking area here. Shane's tight and shallow, and that compromises the entry ever so slightly, and Reynolds has to give it up out the other side. And that brings Van Gisbergen up into P2, and he's now 2.7 seconds away from Cam Waters.
Okay, back in your rhythm now, mate. Back in your rhythm. We've got 3 seconds back to Reynolds. Moving distance, please. There's 8 to go at the end of this one.
Alistair McVeigh on the radio.
At 2.7 with 9 laps, it's 0.3 of a second per lap that he's looking for now, Van Gisbergen, to get to Cam Waters. What did Cam do on that last lap? He did a 12.8. So he'll need to put the foot down to ensure that he doesn't get caught up. Look at those numbers. 0.7, 0.4, 0.3. 0.6 on the previous one. So let's make sure for Cam that he doesn't give this one away with 9 laps remaining.
There's our race leader. 2.999 seconds is the margin back to Van Gisbergen. There's traffic in between, and it's car number 2. It's Nick Percat in the Mobile NTI Racing entry that's separating them. Here's the replay from above from the Century Batteries chopper. Nice exit traction there for Van Gisbergen. It just wagged its tail late in the gear change, second to third. And then he gets that little blast by in the midsection of the front straight. And then Reynolds ultimately has to yield here on the awkward side of the road when they get down to the left-hander at turn 1. Lights go on now for Waters. Yep. He needs every little bit of advantage that he can get from Todd Hazelwood or anybody else in the field if he's going to cling on to the lead of this one. 2.7 seconds is the margin at the moment. The sector splits between them in the first sector was 3/100ths of a second between Waters and Van Gisbergen. So they're in quali mode at the moment. It's maximum attack from 2 of the biggest and best operators in the business.
You'll want to sidestep Hazelwood quickly here. You'll need to give it away. Todd, down the straight, need to give the throttle a breath and let him get across in front of him. And so will Nick need to do the same thing for Van Gisbergen. So Waters comes across the strike. The number is a 12.58. Van Gisbergen a 12.10. Almost half a second gain for Shane on that lap now. 2.4 seconds is the gap.
Still some traffic to negotiate here. Hazelwood in the cool drive entry is separating first and second at the moment. 7 laps remain. Hazelwood's been warned that Shane is lurking and he's battling for position number 2. The cool drive car is Todd Hazelwood. He's second at the moment, Van Gisbergen. Percat's out of position. Third at the moment is David Reynolds with Thomas Randall in 4th and Brody Kostecki in 5th position from Andre Heimgartner, who's got that penalty hanging over his head once they get to the checkered flag and the final results are declared. On board with Shane, turn 13. The sun's still a problem on the exit there in second gear. Third gear, Hill Parade on the run up to the final double left-hander at 14 and 15. Gentle application in second gear, not to excite those rear tyres. Third gear, 4th gear, 5th gear. 6th coming up briefly on the run down the front chute. 2 seconds officially the margin between Waters and Van Gisbergen, and the lap split last time round. 12.5 for Cam and a 12.1 for Van Gisbergen. He peeled 0.4 of a second away.
Almost exactly the same difference from the previous lap. Hazelwood now parks on the left-hand side. Now it's game on. Van Gisbergen has clear line of sight over the monster Mustang.
Race control to all teams. Bad sportsmanship flagged car 6 for exceeding track limits.
Cam Waters has spent his penny. He's got no more track limits lives up his sleeve now.
But so's 97.
And Shane's in exactly the same position. These two at the front of the field have got no more lives when it comes to trying to sneak across those curbs. If they misstep, in their application of trying to do qualifying laps at the moment, they are going to get a whack from the umpire. It might be the determinant in this race. Waters is opening up the line on the exit to try and look after those tyres. He's gone faster in the mid-sector. Both drivers know they've got no more lines up their sleeves here in this regard. So no more from Sam Potter in the background. What was the lap like that time through for Cam? It's a 12.2. He found pace in the middle of the back straight last time. 12 flat for Van Gisbergen, 1 3/4 seconds with 5 remaining.
That's a much better lap there by Waters. 12.2 place 12.1. So that's a really indicative number with no interference from the previous lap cars. Percat and Hazel would have now been cleared. Waters and Van Gisbergen, an absolute fist fight to the end of this one. 5 laps remaining. And can Cam Waters hold on after such an unlucky year? He's been working so hard, the team in the background. He's shown glimpses of incredible pace. Their race performances and tyre life haven't been good enough, but today it may turn around.
1 second, or beg your pardon, 1/10 of a second advantage for Van Gisbergen in sector 1 on the last lap. But he took a little bit of time out of him, Waters, in the mid-sector on this lap. We'll get a speed check for them this time as they cross the control line. It's a 12.3 for Waters, a 12 flat for Van Gisbergen, and it's 1.5 seconds. For Waters, he's hunting down career victory number 10. For Van Gisbergen, off the back of the Bathurst victory, it could be victory number 81. Van Gisbergen's off to the USA to NASCAR in 2024. He's got the eyes on for another championship at the back end of this one. Remembering it's a 131-point margin between he and Brody Kostecki. He's already going to take points out of Brody today. But this is all about getting a race victory. Neither of them can hop over those curbs with too much aggression. Last lap order was Van Gisbergen the fastest. Waters was the 3rd fastest car. The 2nd quickest car out there was actually Frosty, Mark Winterbottom. Turn 12, 1.4 seconds. Both of them on the maximum, on the absolute grip edge of these tyres. 4 laps remaining, about to be 3 laps remaining. 3 by 3, 9 kilometres on the Gold Coast before we see a checkered flag. Is it going to be Waters? Is it going to be Van Gisbergen? Is it going to be a Mustang, or is it going to be a Camaro? Nothing in this battle at the moment. 12.4 for Waters, 11.9 for Van Gisbergen, who cracks the whip when it matters most. The margin's now 1 second as the Kiwi hunts Waters down.
It's that last sector. It's that piece of drive traction out of all those 90-degree corners that really gives Van Gisbergen the yield. The way it comes onto the straight minimises that wheel spin, and that's where the gap was. In the previous sectors, there was nothing in it. So in all this piece here, there's nothing in it. The brain's trust, the stress, the emotion between those two camps. Jamie Whincup there, looking on board as he watches his charger, the big Kiwi, Van Gisbergen, playing against Cam Waters,
who's mighty fast in the middle sector.
He is.
So he just did a 23.8 on that last lap, Waters, versus a 24.1 for Van Gisbergen. But right here is where Shane has got a dart.
Exactly.
This thing puts its power to the road beautifully out of that final corner, and that might serve him well as he sets it up into the first chicane and down into that hairpin left-hander. Now we've got 2 laps remaining. 6 kilometres separates us from the checkered flag. Waters has got this thing inside at the moment. 0.8 of a second is the margin. It will be a full-blown fight to the end. And Waters is not going to yield this thing without either winning or binning. He is not going to let him by easily. Great traction again out of turn 4 for Van Gisbergen. Absolutely nothing in it between these guys at the moment. 0.2 of a second is the gain for Van Gisbergen in sector 1. This is where Waters has been supreme in the last few laps, and he wags the tail slightly on the exit.
Van Gisbergen wiped the right-hand mirror off the thing coming out of turn 4, so there is no margin. These guys they're qualifying laps. And have a look there, that mirror is gone. He just wiped it off coming out of the hairpin. This is where Van Gisbergen's got to gain, these little 90-degree sections where the car puts its power down so well. Right here is where he has it. Watch the car come off there, lot straighter.
Well worth the price of admission on the Gold Coast. We have got 3 kilometres of racing to go, and the margin is 0.3 of a second. 1/3 of a second separates Cam Waters from Van Gisbergen. There's nothing in it through the first chicane. Waters, we know, might be vulnerable off turn 4. Van Gisbergen opens up the corner. Waters covers just temporarily to try and make sure that he doesn't get eaten under brakes. But there's nothing in it on the run up to the fast chicane. He's got to make that Mustang wider if he's going to hang on here. He closes the margin, closes the margin, closes the margin on Van Gisbergen. He throws the thing through the chicane. He's doing everything he can. Is he going to be able to survive the last corner? For Waters, it's supercar race number 248. For Van Gisbergen, it's supercar race number 508. They're both drawing on every last millimetre of experience to get them to the checkered flag. The Camaro wags its tail out of turn 13. Waters might be able to hang on, but it's going to be very, very close. He's got unbelievable traction, Van Gisbergen. What's it like out the other side? What an outstanding supercar race. And I think that Cam Waters has ticked the box. Waters is the winner at Surfers Paradise in an epic supercar race.
Mate. Yeah, boy. Great job, mate. Great job.
How
Good, mate.
good
Great job.
was that? That was one of the best car races we've ever had here. And how was the run off the beach chicane? If there was one section of road in Cam Waters' life, he did the most superb job through that beach chicane because he opened the gap up to get away with that win. Sincere congratulations to Cam Waters and everybody at Ford and Tickford for what was a tremendous bounce back. What a run by that team.